I made dinner for only myself last night. Since moving in with my boyfriend, I have somehow become the only one doing kitchen duty. Well, most duties actually. I do all the laundry, I take the trash out to the bins, do all the cleaning in the bathroom, I dust the furniture. Then, the kitchen duties. I do all grocery shopping, I make the menu. I do all the cooking, and then do the dishes, and clean the sink counters. I feed and water the cats and dog. The cats are his. He does lawn duty. We live in a condo with a 20 square foot yard and half of it is covered in concrete, and he Swiffers the floor a couple times a week. Everything else is on me. We both work full time and split the bills evenly. I actually work more than him. He works 4 10-hour shifts a week, and I work 6 8-hour shifts. Obviously, this is now starting to cause lots of resentment. I have tried just not doing things, but they don't get done. I can't live in filth, and I won't let his cat suffer, because he doesn't notice the bowls are empty, or the litter box is gross and full, so I break down and do it. I have tried asking him to do things. They still don't get done, or at least not in a timely fashion. He has forgotten to take the trash bins to the curb, causing us to have an excess amount of bags for a week, or left the leftovers out all night, causing them to spoil when I asked him to put the food in Tupperware. A month ago, I was super frustrated. I was working second shift instead of first, like I normally do because a coworker had a childcare emergency and I was being nice. I was coming home from work at 10 p.m. super hungry, and of course, my boyfriend hadn't made dinner. And he has the nerve to complain about being starving when he's been home 5 hours. Even making something simple we weren't eating until 11:30 or so. And then he was going straight to bed, leaving me with cleaning up and putting the leftovers away. I ended up telling my boyfriend how crazy stressed I was keeping up with everything in the household. I felt pathetic, but I was basically begging him to make things more equal. He seemed to understand and promised to do more. And for a couple weeks, he kind of did. He made the grocery order, cleaned the litter boxes, grilled for us twice. But that didn't last for long, and somehow I still was responsible for reminding him to help or assigning him these jobs. This last week, my boyfriend has been on vacation from work. He had so much PTO racked up that he had to take time off because he couldn't earn anymore. I still worked by normal 48 hours, 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. I was getting home from work around 2:30 to hear my boyfriend complain about being hungry and asking to make some lunch. This has completely set me off, and I've lost so much attraction to him. I refused every time, causing him to have an attitude with me. When I got off work yesterday, I was exhausted and fell asleep on the couch. We had discussed the day before we would be having burgers that night for dinner, something he likes to make and that are actually really good when he does. But I woke up at 7 p.m. to him playing video games in our bedroom and asking, "When's dinner?" I left him to game and made myself a burger, fried it, and ate my supper alone at the kitchen table. I cleaned up my mess and sat down in the living room to watch some TV. Sometime later, he comes out and again asks, "When's dinner?" "Are you still making burgers?" I told him I wasn't feeling good and not hungry. He ended up just eating some fucking chips and salsa. Too lazy to even make a frozen pizza. We go to bed, and this morning he complains about being starving, asking for pancakes or something more filling for breakfast than cereal since he didn't get dinner. I don't know how much longer this can go on. Update. Hi. Had many people ask for an update to my original post, in comments and in direct messages, so here goes. Sunday, my boyfriend and I had a lengthy discussion about the household inequality. I once again stressed with him how overworked I was, that I was losing attraction to him, that I was rethinking a future because being his mom was never something that I wanted to do. My boyfriend finally seemed to get that this was a make it or break it situation. He confided that he enjoyed being spoiled by me and apologized for taking advantage. He cried over the thought of losing me. He promised to do more without asking and even swore to start putting together a chore. On to today. This morning my boyfriend and I were getting ready for work, and he asked me if I would be okay making dinner tonight because he was planning on mowing and weeding after work. I agreed, although I was thinking that he should have mowed this weekend. especially since the last 4 days. He said, "I'm going to mow tonight, but it needs done, so whatever." He then made a comment about how it makes sense for you to make dinner most days anyways. I asked why he figured that, and his reasoning was that I get off work earlier. I just kind of laughed and asked if they means he will be on dinner and dishes his 3 days off, and he made some kind of remark about it being nice if he could have one day free to himself a week and his hobby Saturday that can keep him out late. This really pissed me off because who got off work earlier didn't matter when I worked the second shift last month, and he gets home before 5:30, so it's not like he couldn't relax for an hour or so before cooking, and I will never have a free day to myself. Plus, since moving in together, anytime we argue about him not contributing his reasoning is I get off work earlier, not taking into account that I work 2 days more than him. It was obvious then that he hadn't really learned anything. I told him so and started crying because that's when I realized I was done and it was over. I didn't want to have that conversation right before going to work, so tonight I'll be officially ending our relationship. So I've been pretty useless at work today, making phone calls and preparing my next move. I sent an email to my old boss. I'm sure if they have any positions open, he would be glad to have me back. And a friend has been nice enough to offer me her spare room until my BFS lease runs out. Unfortunately, my landlord was not willing to remove me from lease because he doesn't think boyfriend can pay for it himself, so I'm just preparing to send him half of rent until February. But as soon as I have employment lined up back home, I'll be moving out. Until then, I'm cool sleeping on an air mattress in our spare room. I am very sad. I loved him, still do. This is my first time moving in with a boyfriend, and I thought I did everything right. Like we didn't rush, waited a year and 10 months to take this step, and made sure he could take care of his shit without me, but it still ended up this way.